My wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not a particularly religious family in either direction. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her, and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way.
That statement shook the internet. But let's be real. That's a husband speaking out of eternal love, not ego or arrogance, as some people have thought and actually have said. Most people heard this and thought, how dare he? I could almost hear those voices, sinister voices, almost demonic in nature. How dare he? But what I hear conviction and compassion. He's not, just for the record, folks, he's not criticizing his wife. He's praying for her publicly and hopefully, in a way, hope that his statement would garner others who love them and to pray also for her, along with him for her. Because the Bible says where two and three come together to pray, God does miraculous things. So he's doing what a spiritual leader does. He's seeing it for what it is, he's speaking it for what it is, and then he's sowing that into his relationship. That's why they have such a loving relationship. Have you ever seen how she glows in his presence? Have you ever seen when they're walking, how she's looking up to him and smiling, holding onto his hands? That is somebody who honors and respects that very same man who spoke those words. See, JD Vance sees the reality that they don't share the same faith. That's the reality. He speaks truth in love, unashamed of his belief as so many would. What he did was bold and daring. And of course, that's what's so off-putting to the many who are criticizing. He shows grace by honoring her publicly, even while hoping for her salvation. Have you ever heard how he speaks about his wife? So, what you just saw is not control, that's courage. And so, let's hear how he follows it up because his next line shows that his faith is strong and his respect even stronger. Let's watch.
But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will. And so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love.
Hmm. So that's what spiritual maturity looks like, just in case you've never seen one in public from someone in as high an office as he is. It's truth without tyranny. He's saying, I want her to see what I see, but I won't force her. I won't force it on her. That's respect. That's the balance most couples never master. Conviction without control. So many couples, they think because they feel so strongly about something, or a spouse feels so strongly about something, they have to then come through as a control, my way or the highway. Do it this way, or you know what, I'm out. That kind of thing. That's not what you're hearing here. You know, I've been married for 40 years as of this recording, since 1985. And I can tell you that I'm so thankful to God that my wife and I are on the same page, have same faith. And the Bible does say this very, very, very strongly. Do not be unequally yoked. This is what happens where if I was to say one thing, this is what happens when you marry someone who is not sharing the same faith leanings as you do. The Bible warns against that. You're going to have conflict like, like you never had. I mean, I know this couple who've been married for over 40 plus years. The husband died in recent years, and he was Muslim. She was a Christian. And she would tell me so often, even when I speak to her in many years past, she would say, Kingsley, if I could go back and do it again, I would marry someone that shares the same faith like I do. She says this, I love my husband. I respect him. And she does. I mean, she never threw him under the bus. All the years I've known her, she never once said anything that I heard in my presence that was negative towards him. She loved him, even though he shared a Muslim faith. But it was a problem. Spiritually, it was a problem. She could not get him to go to church with her. She could not get him to be on the same page, how to raise the kids, and on and on it goes. But for JD's Vance, for his defense, he said when he got married to Usha, they were not. I mean, he was like, I mean, searching. He was away from faith. That was not on his radar. So I get it. And so it was now that he became a person of faith and a Christian faith as he's leaning towards and talking about, he's now run up against this issue. And that's why the Bible warns this. And so, of course, he stays with that. He doesn't change that. He's believing that God would change her heart and give her the eyes to see as he has seen. Now, let me just say, if you have not been married, the Bible warns this is what you want to make sure you don't do is marry someone of an opposite faith. Because when you think that it's going to be okay, it's not. It's not. Light and darkness does have cannot mix, right? Oil and water does not blend. So it's a very important thing to understand this. So I wanted to just a side note by saying those things. So let me say, dear wife, this is huge. When your husband is driven by faith, vision, or business, he's not always trying to pull away from you. Sometimes he's pulling towards something he believes will bless you in the long run. And I know that in my own relationship, and I've worked with so many people as a licensed marriage and family therapist and coach, hundreds and hundreds of couples and hundreds of spouses, many like you. I have heard the stories and seen it. So I know what happens when your husband is trying to do things in his mind for the family, and it can be misinterpreted and misunderstood, and it really hurts him. He may not show it, he may not say much, but he recoils. JD gets it. He knows that love without freedom isn't love at all. And freedom comes by knowing Christ. The Bible says this, right? He who the Son has set free is free indeed. JD have experienced that and he wants that for his wife. And who would not? That's what I think is so beautiful about what it is you're seeing unfolding right here. Now listen to his final part, this final part. This is where he doubles down and triples down and shows why his faith drives everything he does and should. I'm so grateful to see him speaking this way. So let's watch.
I make no apologies for believing that Christianity is the pathway to God. I make no apologies for thinking that Christian values are an important foundation of this country. And I think that the fruits of the Christian faith are the most moral, the most just, and the most prosperous civilization in history.
That's bold, right? That's leadership. That's what men of faith should sound like, unapologetic and anchored. I pray to God a lot more of our leaders could sound this way. And this is not about politics, I mean, one side or the other. I'm praying that our nation in America here, that God would raise up leaders like this who speaks boldly and without apology. He's not just talking about religion. He's talking about responsibility. If you believe something is true and life-giving, why wouldn't you want it for the people you love most. Some people might say, Kingsley, why take a public? Well, he speaks with grace. Remember, the audience he's speaking to, he says, they're my friends. He sees them as friends. Why wouldn't you want to share with your friends this matter? You're among friends. And he's also appealing in a way, again, like I said, for them to join him to praying for his wife to come to the saving grace and knowledge of Jesus Christ. That's a prayer. And that's where this ties into marriage. Ambitious husbands, like what we see here in Vice President JD Vance, they do the same thing in different ways. Through their businesses, their dreams, their hard work, they're trying to build something that makes life better for their families. They see it, speak it, and sow it. But sometimes what tends to happen is that their wives misinterpret, like I said, that drive as distance ahead of, I mean, instead of devotion or caring. They don't realize, unfortunately, some wives don't realize, and I hope it's not you, that underneath the hustle is a heart that's saying, I'm doing this for us, for us. So, with that said, let's break down how you can apply this same balance of truth and love in your own marriage through my three-part framework I call the intimacy bridge. So the first part of that is see it, right? The first column is see it. It recognizes the why behind convictions like we see here. Don't just see what he's doing, your husband, see why. JD sees his wife as a soul he loves, not a project to fix. Likewise, dear wife, your husband isn't trying to ignore you when he's focused on his mission. He's trying to secure your future. Secondly, speak it. Communicate truth without cutting down. JD spoke his faith in public, but still honored his wife in private. He also honors her publicly as well. That's the model. That's the model. You can speak truth and still show respect. When you speak to your husband, don't try to control his belief. Affirm him in as many ways as you possibly can. Show appreciation and honor and respect. Affirm his calling, his his skill, his talents, his abilities. Words either build bridges or burn them. Choose the former, not the latter. Sow it. Plant faith, not fear. JD's example shows that real love sows faith, even when you don't see results yet, right? So, dear wife, sow prayers for your husband's strength and vision. Have you ever said to your husband sometimes, honey, I'm praying for you. I'm praying I see you, the hard work, and I'm praying that God would bless and grant success to your hands. That's sowing encouragement instead of sowing resentment. So every seed of respect you plant grows trust and intimacy. So then here are five takeaways that I want you to have, right? The first one is this: truth and love aren't enemies, they're partners. Number two, confidence and faith doesn't equal control. Number three, a secure man can be bold without being overbearing. Number four, when you see his heart, you stop misjudging his hustle. And number five, respect fuels connection like oxygen fuels fire. Yes, it does. Hey, by the way, if you have not yet subscribed, I hope that your hearing is resonating and you'd like to hear more of this. Please subscribe and hit it right now. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and also make sure that you share this with at least one other person. So, dear wife, don't mistake your husband's conviction for coldness, right? When he speaks from his faith or his calling, it's because he's thinking about a legacy, about you, yours, his, and the children's. That's where he's coming from. And take it from me. I'm one just like him, like your husband. So when you see it, speak it, and sow it, you join him in the mission instead of fighting it. And that's how a marriage moves from conflict to calling. So here's the thing. If you want to have some more of what you have heard and want to know more of what I have to offer, I have a free gift for you, a free guide. It's called Reconnect, a quick guide for wives who feel like they're doing it all. And if you're interested in that and would like to have that free gift, a free booklet, go to buildyourhappiermarriage.com/reconnect. Buildyourhappiermarriage.com/reconnect, and I'll send that your way as soon as you request it. Here's a question of the day. Do you think Vice President JD Vance was wrong for speaking that boldly about his faith and his wife, or was he brave? Comment below. Let me hear. Let's have a conversation about this. And so please share this video with at least one other wife or person, and make sure you subscribe if you have not yet done so to the channel. And I would really appreciate that. Now watch this other video you'll see right here on your screen. And may the Lord bless you and keep you and give you his peace and his grace even now for your marriage and for your journey. And I'll see you on the next video. God bless.